Hi, welcome to NumPy Tutorial Series. This video is the first part of the lesson on array creation routines. You will learn how to initialize NumPy arrays in just one line of code. NumPy provides various functions to fill array with values in a very convenient way.
So let's jump in.
But before we start, don't forget to subscribe to Badger the Teacher so you won't miss the next part of this lesson and many other educational videos. First of all, I want to remind you that NumPy import is a must when you try out some examples shown in this video. I omit import statements on slides to save some space, but at the beginning of my Jupyter notebook there is always a NumPy import statement. So, if you see this error, just add an import of NumPy.
In the previous lesson, we have already seen one way of creating NumPy arrays and initializing it. Array function, which takes a list as an argument.
Yes, the first example is a one-dimensional array. It's just a sequence of three numbers 0, 1 and 2. The second example is a two-dimensional array. It's in fact a table of 2 rows and 3 columns. Please pay attention to the brackets in the second example. Each row is in brackets and also all rows together are in brackets. Array function is the first way we learn how to create a NumPy array. However, in data analysis, there is often a need to initialize huge array with some values, for example, zeros or ones.
I guess it would be time-consuming or even impossible to list all the values in brackets. I have loops in mind.
I will disappoint you. Loops are extremely slow comparing to the NumPy operations. That means loops should be avoided whenever possible. Let's check what NumPy offers in addition to array function. To create an array filled with zeros, we use zeros function with array shape as an argument. There are also some other parameters, but for now we won't discuss them. To create one-dimensional array with 5 zeros, we just pass 5 as a parameter. To create two-dimensional array with 5 rows and 5 columns, we pass a tuple of 5 and 5. You can experiment with different shapes here.
I see that there is a dot after each zero. Are those float numbers?
Yes, by default the result of zeros function is an array of floats. We can always check it with a dtype attribute.
Can we change data type to integer?
Sure. Zeros function, as well as many similar functions we are going to explore, allows you to choose the data type of values. By default, as we have seen, it's float64 type, but you can also use integer 32 as an example or any other type. To do so, you just pass one additional parameter, desired dtype. Ones function initializes array with ones, also of float type.
I see that usage is very similar to zeros function.
Yes, just pass a number to create one-dimensional array or a tuple to create two-dimensional array. So in this example, we create one-dimensional array of 3 elements, all ones. And then we create a two-dimensional array of 3 rows and 2 columns.
We haven't passed dtype parameter, so the data type is float64.
The name of empty function can be misleading. This function creates an array with some values that depends on the state of the memory.
What does that mean?
There can be anything actually, it's a garbage, so be very careful with empty function. Again, both one-dimensional and two-dimensional arrays can be created, so try different shapes in your experiments.
What if we need to fill array with some other value, not 0 or 1? Is there some function for that as well?
To initialize an array with any value you need, full function is used. In this example, the first parameter defines the shape and the second the value to use. So, on the slide we see one-dimensional array of 3 elements and two-dimensional array of 3 rows and 2 columns. All the elements are equal to 3.14.
So, technically, I can initialize an array of zeros or ones by calling a full function.
You're right. However, as there are shorter and more specialized functions, of course, they are more preferable choice. Another extremely useful function is repeat. You can repeat both scalar value, like 1, or you can repeat a whole array. In the first example, we repeat value 1 5 times. In the second example, we repeat values of array 0, 1, and 2 3 times. Pay attention that array values are repeated sequentially, 3 zeros, 3 ones, 3 twos, so each value gets repeated individually.
But what if we want to repeat the whole array 3 times, preserving the order of elements?
We can achieve this with a tile function. The first line here uses repeat function and the second one tile. So tile repeats whole array, not individual elements, preserving the order of elements. So the result is sequence 0, 1, and 2 3 times.
Can we repeat elements in two-dimensional arrays?
You can use both repeat and tile for two-dimensional arrays as well. Here behavior differs a bit. Repeat repeats two-dimensional array as a one-dimensional by just repeating individual elements. Tile, on the contrary, repeats elements in the shape of array that was passed as a parameter. If you already have an array and want to inherit its shape and data type in pre-initialized array, it can be done by means of functions ending with like.
Let's say I have an integer array of 3 rows and 2 columns called int zeros, and I want to create an array of exact the same shape and data type initialized with ones. What should I do?
You just call ones like function and pass in zeros array as an argument. Pretty simple.
I guess it is a shorter version for what we might achieve by running the code on the right, calling ones function and passing the shape and dtype of int zeros as the parameters.
Exactly.
I think I have to practice and read some documentation on covered functions.
Here is a great tip on how to get a documentation on some functions that you have questions about right in your Jupyter notebook. You can use 2 question marks or info function. Try it and see what information you can get. Explore parameters, return values, or even code examples.
It looks very convenient.
That's it for today. We have already covered many convenient functions that can save you a bunch of time when you need to initialize array with some values. In the next part of this lesson, you will learn how to fill array with a linear sequence or evenly spaced values. Please subscribe to Badger the Teacher and don't miss the second part of this lesson. Let me know in comments below if you need some more detailed explanation on topics we have covered. See you in the next lesson. Bye!